If you're a business owner, you don't need us to tell you running a business is tough. Don't let QuickBooks and spreadsheets slow you down anymore. Now is the time to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. NetSuite gives you the visibility and control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Join the over 21,000 companies using NetSuite right now. Schedule your free product tour right now at netsuite.com/C-suite. netsuite.com/C-suite.
Welcome to the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and as always, I'm here with the homie Kevin.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight? Hopefully the first half of your week was pretty cool. How's your week been so far, man?
Trudging on through like always.
Yeah, just about the same.
Hell yeah, insert Superman pun here. We're covering Man of Steel tonight.
Yeah, good organic way of bringing that in.
Yeah,
that was fresh.
The 2013 Zack Snyder directed film, starring Henry Cavill, of course. But yeah, Man of Steel, man, it's hard to believe that it's been 5 years since that movie came out.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So I had a chance, of course, as always, to rewatch the film and jot some notes down. And by some, I mean a few pages.
Sounds about right, actually. Yep. It was a pretty long movie, sitting at 2.5, just about. Yep. Yeah, maybe a little bit more, a smidgen more.
I think it was like 2:36, something like that.
Yeah. It was a long movie. I watched it as well.
Yeah. What'd you think?
So, watching it the second time with the podcaster's eyes, there's definitely a few more things I noticed this time around than I did the first time, which is pretty typical for most audiences everywhere. But there's definitely a list of things I want to get into and get your opinion on as we go throughout the night. But overall, I still enjoyed it,
I gotta say, I actually enjoyed this a lot more on my second watch. And it was interesting because when I sat down to watch it last night, I was like, oh man, like I realized I haven't watched this movie in its entirety since the theater. And so I was like, I hope that I didn't lie to the homies when I said that this movie is actually pretty good. But then thankfully my fears were relieved as the movie went on. I was definitely pleasantly surprised by the movie again. Because with it being so long since the last time I watched it, I was a little concerned, but it was a lot of fun to watch it again. I think that this movie there's definitely some things that it could have improved upon. For sure, we're gonna get into those.
Right, and there's a list of those I also want to talk to you about, but there are a lot of things that also still impressed me.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Back and forth.
Right. But yeah, I feel like this movie, because there was a lot of points, and I'm going to mention these throughout the podcast here. There were a lot of moments throughout the podcast, or throughout the watching of the movie again, where it reminded me what I really enjoyed about this movie. And a lot of what I enjoyed about this movie really is the fact that, I hate to say it, but to me, this is the first movie that gave Superman any kind of heart. This made Superman everything that the character really needed to be.
Right. I actually was going to say something very similar.
It made him complex, multifaceted, relatable, and it made a god seem human, which...
Yeah.
It put Superman, this fictional being, into a real world and showed us what the world would be like if such a being existed in our reality. And that I really appreciated. I think it's that same thing is what people don't like about the movie.
Actually, I was gonna say something very similar if you didn't say it first. The movie humanized him. It took a godlike creature from the comics and finally gave it human problems, human emotion, and things that we can even relate to, you know, on very familiar fronts throughout the whole movie, whenever he's young, whenever he's adult, and all the things in between. But there are definitely a few things which, and you're right, it does kind of go back to that memory of so many people dissing on the movie in 2013, whenever it was released. And a lot of that, I think, was because of religious tones that the movie does have, or on a whole different aspect, more so popular, I suppose, with our listeners,
right.
more so from a comic to movie aspect as well, which of course we're going to talk more about.
Oh yeah, I would feel like if you're a Superman fan and didn't like this movie because of its religious overtones, then you're not really a Superman fan. Because Superman as a whole is nothing but a Christ and Moses analog. I mean, he chronicles those two stories so much, and and they definitely parallel that in the movie. But I think that it was done, in my opinion anyway, it was done tactfully enough so that it didn't distract, but there was definitely an overlay if you were willing to notice it.
Right. And I don't know, which was interesting because at the time in 2013, other religious movies haven't really come out yet. Like, fill in the blank here because I can't remember a religious movie title, besides like Noah, maybe? Yeah, Noah was a thing.
It could have been, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Emma Watson was in it. But, obviously I didn't see that. But, no, I mean, there was obviously a lot more to the movie, and they did so, like you said as well, very well to make sure that the movie was more than just a Bible frickin' symbol, the whole time. It wasn't just an allegory of, like, this story here.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, because they didn't give a lot of attention to it, and I didn't really think too religiously about the movie myself.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, like, I guess from my viewpoint, like I already said, Superman is, he's not a religious character in the sense that he, openly practices religion.
Exactly.
He's a religious character in the sense that he represents what a lot of religions, focus on.
Could you imagine? I'm pretty sure a universe in the DC canon is out there where he's just Crossman, and he just like has a cross on his chest, and he is a blatant religious symbol.
Yeah. But like we said, I think a lot of people dislike this version of Superman because he's relatable, because he's not that perfect God that can save everybody and do everything that they're used to.
He's not the guy who didn't have to try. He's so good.
Yeah.
He's not the guy who had to learn how to fly smoothly or to decide whether or not he's going to save people,
Yeah, this is a Superman that had to figure out who he needed to be versus other versions of Superman. He just kind of accepted it, like, okay, yep, this is what I am.
No problem.
Yeah.
My only flaw is I have to hide behind glasses? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, actually, I still really appreciate this version that we got here. And I guess with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into this breakdown here.
Hell yeah.
So the movie starts off with Laura L. giving birth to Cal L.
Notice all the names are 5 letters.
Yeah, Jor-El.
Which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah. Zod, what's Zod's last name? Yui? I forget whatever his last name is.
Boy.
Yeah. But this movie opens up with Laura giving birth to Cal, aka Superman. And there's so much about these opening moments that I really enjoy. But I guess first let's go ahead and just discuss, the main plot beats that happen, and then kind of discuss some of the broad strokes from there.
Yeah, agreed, because it is late and there's a lot of detail that goes into these opening parts.
Oh, yeah.
So let's cover it all and then blanket cover.
So Jor-El, he stands before the council and he tells them that they should not have harvested the core.
You done messed up.
Yeah, you don't messed up because all of the planet's natural resources dried up apparently some time ago. And so in order to continue to fuel their technological advanced society, they drew energy from their planet's core, and that caused a disruption within their planet. Hence, the planet could literally blow any moment now.
Wow.
And, they were saying, or Jor-El was basically telling them, look, we can evacuate, we can save our people. And the council was like, so you want us to evacuate an entire people? Jor-El was like, no, we're dead, but we can continue to live on through through the future.
Right.
And it's at this point where Zod storms the console. He and his posse kill a couple of people. And he tries to convince Jor-El to join him. I guess because he does recognize the brilliance in Jor-El.
There are a few moments here, and this is more comical than anything important.
Yeah.
Zod here at this point, in this moment, Michael Shannon, correct? Yeah. He just reminds me of Dwight from The Office so much. Like, the way he carries himself here. Like, if Dwight was Zod, they would be synonymous in action, in thought, and whatnot. Like, in this moment, I caught some hard Dwight vibes. You're looking very perplexed there. You didn't think about that at all, did you?
I still don't really see it, but
well,
I mean,
okay, we'd have to go back and watch the scene together.
It's just because, like, to me, Michael Shannon in this performance, especially here, he came up with somebody that was equally intelligent and intimidating, and on top of that, I mean, unlike Dwight Schrute from The Office, Zod actually had some really valid points and a really valid argument, and that's something that I really appreciated about him.
No, he definitely did. Again, it's the signs of a good villain almost.
Right. And Michael Shannon's performance was really masterful, so I didn't really see any of those undertones.
Just the way he looked really is what hit me. Just some of the patterns he made with his face, like whenever he was on verge of being pissed, more like surprised, angry. Like a lot of the stuff he did still screams freaking Dwight's actor, man. Just wow, like. That was my thought. But again, like I highlighted earlier, more comical than important.
Right. Yeah. Obviously, though, Jor-El does not join Zod, and they have a really interesting conversation here. And it's really Jor-El, who, of course, dies, just the father of Superman.
Exactly. Russell Crowe's character.
Yeah, Russell Crowe's character. And he's telling Zod that, like, so who's going to decide who lives? If let's say that I join you, Zod, who's going to decide who lives and who dies? You. And Zod has nothing to say to that response.
Says a lot about the guy's character there.
It does, yeah. I really love the chemistry here between Zod and Jor-El because it's layered. Like, there's a history there. There's, like, almost a mutual respect. But there's, like, a splintering difference in philosophies. They both want the same thing. They both want their people to live and to thrive. But they have two completely different methodologies to get there. And so that creates a really cool and complex situation.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. And like you said, Zod made some intelligent points. He had a plan. It just was a very, depending on opinion, of course, but there were some immoralities to it that definitely shone through that, Russell Crowe just wasn't having, man.
Right.
Anywho, what happens next?
Yeah, so next, Jor-El, he goes and retrieves the Codex. And now the Codex is a really interesting and key component of the movie. And it's something in the Superman mythos that they changed, but it didn't bother me either way that this was something that was kind of new to the Superman lore.
They definitely used it well in the movie.
They did. I thought so too. So what this Codex basically is at first all they really tell us essentially is that it contains the future of their people. And now you would think that all that means is that it contains their history and it contains their technologies and their science, but it actually contains more. It contains the genetic makeup of their people. Because actually, there are no natural births on Krypton. They're all planned out, and they're all technological and science births.
Right. Think Matrix, but Kryptonian.
Essentially, no kind of weird simulator thing.
No needle to neck.
Right. Yeah. None of that. But all the births are planned out, and people are genetically made to be certain things in certain ways. Every being except for Kal-El. Come to find out, little Cal, he's the first natural birth in centuries.
Yep.
And so that's another reason why this birth is so important. But Jor-El, he retrieves the Codex, and it's at this point where he's being questioned as to whether he's or whether his son would be an outcast or a god. He and his wife are having this conversation. Before Zod shows up. And
who recovered very quickly from birth, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perks of being Kryptonian.
I suppose so. Yeah.
They have a heartfelt parting from their son, and it really was. And this right here really was really a cool facet that I appreciated was the fact that these two, vastly superior beings to what we are, having this really human emotion, this really human reaction to their son, and Laura looking down on little Cal and realizing that she'll never get to see him take his first steps or hear his first words, that he'll never know who they are and how much they love him, but in order for his survival and for the planet's survival, they have to send him away.
Yeah, man, parenting, it goes cross species.
Yeah,
everybody, everything, boom boom.
Yeah. And so, they have a pretty heartfelt parting from their son. They load him up in the little pod. And it's at this point where they realize, or where they reveal that this is Krypton's first natural birth in centuries. They prepared the little baby to be blasted off, and they do so. Zod shows up. Also, before he, shoots little Cal off into space, he gives him the codex. But he actually, spoiler alert for later on, not only does he put like a physical copy of the codex, like a USB basically containing all the information.
The best USB ever.
Yeah, and also the consciousness of Jor-El within this codex. But he also uploads the genetic makeup of his people into the very cells of little Kal-El. And then he shoots him off into space. Zod shows up.
He was not entertained.
He was not entertained by this. He was not having it.
Yeah.
Zod and Jor-El, they have a fight up until Cal is launched. Once little Kal-El is finally launched off with the codex, Zod stabs and kills Jor-El. Just straight up murders him. And this is an interesting death because once Jor-El is stabbed, he doesn't even acknowledge that he just got fatally wounded. He's looking at his future and the future of his people literally go off into space. And so he's just happy that his mission is accomplished. He was they were all going to die regardless.
Right.
So it's like, what difference does this make to me now?
Yeah, thanks for ending it sooner, man. I didn't have to wait to see my home blow up.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Jor-El, he's taken before the council. This could have been sometime later. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's kind of weird here because it's like, are we holding council? Really? The planet's kind of blowing up, but, whatever. Because there was still some disarray. Maybe the actual chaos hasn't begun yet.
Right.
So... Anyways, you were saying.
Well, I think of it also like this: like if planet Earth was going to blow up, I really don't see American politicians telling the people. I see them trying their best to keep that shit under wraps.
Knowing a lot of political parties, I agree. Sadly enough, and that's stupid.
Yeah, it is.
Actually, short comment. There was a really interesting short read by Ray Bradbury where he actually wrote about the last day of Earth ever, and no one did anything different. In fact, the ending of the book was the most important part because it's the end of the last day. So you think everyone would be like, well, time to do all the things I wanted to do,
Yeah.
But instead, everyone went to bed normally. The main character, she got up, went to the sink because it had a drip, and turned it off.
Yeah.
And went back to bed, and she and her husband laughed. And then that was the end of the book. And then you presume everyone was done. And it was a fascinating, symbolic read. And it's kind of like, well, what? I mean, what do you do? Do you watch your house explode? Is it going to be that dramatic, But, anywho.
Yeah. Well, I think that sense of normalcy keeps you sane in situations like that. And perhaps that's what
as sane as possible.
Yeah, and perhaps that's what the Kryptonians in the council were doing here with Zod, Maybe. I mean, because they could have just let Zod do whatever. Who knows? Maybe Zod had plans to flee the planet anyway. And so they were like, okay, well, to make sure that you don't do that.
I'm sure he did, because he wasn't an idiot general, He was well intelligent. He was very, he knew shit was going down, and he didn't want to be here when it went down, you know. He was not going to fight them in the shade. I'm sorry, that's my last Gladiator reference.
That was a 300 reference.
That was no. Wait, no.
Yeah.
Give me a second. There was something similar said in Gladiator. So never mind. That was a 300 reference. I'm innocent. I can make another Gladiator reference.
The council, they sentenced Zod and his followers to 300 cycles in the Phantom Zone. And now this is a really interesting turn of events, because instead of ending the movie, spoiler alert again, instead of ending the movie with them in the Phantom Zone, they begin the movie with them in the Phantom Zone.
Yeah.
And I suppose technically the Christopher Reeve Superman 2 also did the same thing, but it ended and began them with them being in the Phantom Zone, I believe.
But I still haven't seen the second installation.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Really?
No.
Yeah, that's that was the first appearance of Zod in the movies anyway. Yeah.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
I'm really curious now. That might have to be the next thing I watch. Now that I just watched Man of Steel.
Right, that's going to be really interesting for you because, like, watching Superman 2 in comparison to Michael Shannon's performance, like watching the two Zods, not saying that the original Zod actor did a bad job, it's just different.
Right. You know, which
even Faora. I mean, Faora in Superman 2, she got even less speaking lines in that one, and it was even more robotic. But no,
that's an accomplishment.
Yeah. Yeah. But I love how once again I really enjoy Michael Shannon's performance here as he's being encased in the Phantom Zone thing or whatever,
which looked like an ice trap of sorts.
Yeah. He's looking at Laura and he's going, "I will find him. I will find him. I will find him."
Yeah.
Which I don't think I've quoted on the podcast yet, but I do yell that out sometimes off mic. So yeah, I really enjoy
Actually,
that.
I remember you saying that one time when we played video games, and it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense now. You will find him.
Yeah,
he will find him.
I will find him.
He will find him. Yeah.
Yeah, but I really like that line there because he's just so hell bent on finding their son, on finding Kal-El.
And it's not even a question whether or not he's going to get out of the Phantom Zone in his mind.
Right.
Like, that's just a given in his perspective.
Right. It makes perfectly sense how he gets out, but it is equally hilarious. I didn't find this to be a plot hole. I found it to just be hilarious. Okay. Exactly how he gets out. By the way, they're trapped in dick pods. They look just like dicks. Those pads that they're stuck in. I mean, seriously, guys, go back and look at those little Phantom Zone pod things they're trapped in.
They're just ice dicks.
They look just like dicks. Yeah.
Oh man.
But
I wasn't gonna say anything, but you know what?
I totally was. Yeah. I mean, because they did. One more thing, really quick, before we get off of Krypton, I want to talk about the planet itself, because the planet itself looked amazing. I really enjoyed the look.
Oh yeah, no, a lot of things in this movie looked aesthetically very daggone well, you know?
It's like
this included.
Yeah, just the visual appearance of Krypton really told us a lot about the planet.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I love how they gave attention to detail, the lighting of the planet. Mm-hmm. They had an older sun that didn't have those bright yellow rays. It was always like a deep orange.
Yep.
Therefore, they didn't have all those super capabilities that Superman has on Earth.
Almost like a perma sunset of sorts.
Yeah. And that was really interesting. They never really mentioned it, but it was definitely noticeable.
They also cohabitated with dinosaurs, which is also pretty kick-ass.
That was like a fusion of like a dragonfly and a pterodactyl thing.
Yeah.
That Jor-El was riding on at one point.
And at the beginning of the movie, you like see the camera like spanning over the land, and you see like some really big humpback dinosaur just like grazing or some shit, like just being big and majestic.
Right, alien dinosaurs at that. Like these were really cool looking creatures.
Yeah,
and it really makes you wish that there was a way that we could spend more time. But at the same time, though, for pacing purposes, I also understand why they had to be fairly brief with it.
Yeah, the movie was already pretty damn long.
Yeah, I would have appreciated like a super director's cut with more time on Krypton. Yeah, that would have been pretty cool for like a director's cut version. But yeah, like the look and feel and the technology of Krypton was all really cool. I really enjoyed the vibe of it all. And then just to see the planet, go, and to see how much Jor-El and Laura really loved their son, like that was all really good stuff. Sometimes I will go ahead and say this. Sometimes this movie does crawl up its own ass, but for the most part, it really does nail a lot of the emotional fronts that it needs to nail. And that did not go unnoticed on my part. For somebody who can be heartless at times, I noticed that the emotional standouts really did stand out.
Yeah, the beginning scene was really well done overall.
Yeah. Next up, we go to like modern day, and we see Clark the Fisherman. That's what I call him. Technically, Joe the Fisherman. He goes by the alias of Joe. Which I think has to be a call out to Joe Shuster, one of the creators of Superman.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think also it worked really well for the movie because one, it could serve as the call out. Whether or not they did it on purpose, I don't guarantee no. But I will also say Joe's just a really lazy, easy name to say. Like, hey, what's your name? Oh, I need a fake name. Joe.
Yeah.
It's like Bob or Tom or something. No offense to any Joes, Bobs, or Toms listening now.
Yeah. And it really is an interesting transition because, like, right as Krypton is basically where they tell us that Krypton is destroyed, but then right as we are about to see the destruction, we see him as a fisherman. And
there were a lot of interesting cutaways like that.
There were.
I want to talk about those later.
Yeah.
As they come up.
Right. There's an oil rig out at sea that catches fire. Clark, he saves those people. We need to go ahead and discuss this now.
What's that?
Because we've done the same thing for both Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth.
Okay.
Henry Cavill is jacked as fuck.
Dude, he is super cut. Like, he was so cut. His jog stance wasn't normal. It was,
that's the
my
thing,
arms
like-
are out here, and I have to move like this.
He wasn't just cut, he was jacked. I mean, because, like, he had more than just definition. He had the size to match it. Like, so that was, like, damn.
Like, good job, Henry.
Right.
Good. Don't lose it. Okay, you keep on that shit.
Well, we've seen Justice League, and spoiler alert, he does not.
Yeah, true. Yeah. In this movie, at least, freaking on fire dude coming up on the oil rig, just like flames coming off his shoulders and everything.
Right.
I'm here to save you. You look like you're from hell. Was I that bad of a person? No, I'm actually here to save you. Get off. Oh, I'm alive. Okay.
Yeah.
But at that moment, my thought would have been like, well, shit, this is a demon.
My thoughts would have been, okay, I guess if it's a demon, it's a demon that's saving my ass.
Well, it would have been
Like,
easier.
how many demons do that?
Well, true. Okay, I don't know. I wouldn't have trusted it at first.
It's like no homo, but how many demons look this good?
I don't know. I think that's there's something to be said there. But I will say this: that I would have immediately been like, okay, there's no way this guy's actually here doing the things he's doing until I see the helicopter, and then it's like, oh shit! Well, I'm not gonna let the look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm gone, son.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's able to save all the guys on the oil rig, and yeah, I have it written here. Yoked Cavill is yoked. That he is.
So much so it had to be yoked twice. Yep. Yeah.
Let's see. Next up, we get childhood Clark, like grade school.
I loved these parts.
I did too.
I loved how they did it so differently, where we get him and then a thought just brings us to the past with him. And I loved that they did it and they didn't all try to sit us down and have this huge gaping, just slow ass tonally and just bringing down the movie sequence of childhood to teenagehood to adolescence to emotional bullshit that happened all of a sudden at this day and then adulthood. I loved the adulthood. This reminds me of my childhood. This reminds me of the bus. That was so cool.
I thought so too. I'm glad that you agreed, because these were some of my favorite moments in the movie. Like, these were really well done.
And again, playing on debatably one of the thesis statements of our podcast tonight, these scenes were the ones that made Superman relatable, made him human, made him real.
Exactly. Because it's like, and here's the thing, guys, is like, this movie was written by David S. Goyer and Christopher Nolan, the same duo that wrote the Dark Knight trilogy.
The other guy does not get enough attention.
David
Christopher gets a lot of love.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
yeah. I guess it's because he also directed the Dark Knight trilogy.
Also true.
Versus, David Goyer helped him write it all.
You remember how it should have ended?
Mm-hmm.
They gave so much attention to Christopher Nolan, and that's the example that always sticks out to me. Like, yeah, Man of Steel's coming out. People are excited about it because of Christopher Nolan, because of my movies. That's not true, Batman.
Yeah.
Back in freaking early 2013, But anywho,
but the reason why that thought came to mind also is because back in Batman Begins, we get some similar cuts when we see because we go from adult Bruce like in the foreign prison to childhood Bruce falling down through the well, and then we get like some of the same similar cuts of Bruce going throughout his training, and then Bruce losing his parents, Bruce continuing his training, then Bruce about to kill Maroni. Right. We see all, or Joe Chill. We get to see all of those cuts. So it's also similarly done here. But this childhood scene where he's in school is a really well done cut because like that's the brilliance I think of the writing here in this movie of David S. Goyer and Chris Nolan. It's because they had to have sat down and thought, how do we humanize this God?
Yeah.
And
the sentence itself is a paradox.
Yeah. But if anyone can do it, it's that duo. And they did. And so we really get to see this cool scene where Clark, I don't know, he's maybe, no older than 10?
He is a child in elementary school, maybe like second or third grade. And he's just, there's way too much input, man.
Right.
It's just like...
It hits him one at a time. It is sensory overload for sure. And so, like, the first thing he notices is like the X-ray vision, which would creep anyone the fuck out.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm sorry. There's a palpitation on your skeleton, ma'am.
Right.
Wait, I keep seeing and not seeing it. I can't promise you where it's at, but it's there.
Yeah. So he gets to see like the structural figures and the muscular system of the people around him.
Yeah.
And then he's noticing the heartbeats. And of course, the clock and roll ticking really loud. He like all
the
that
shuffle
shit.
of a hand across the table, like
right. Like his hearing gets intensified. His vision is obviously intensified, and like he freaks out. I mean, like any kid probably would in that situation.
Oh yeah.
And so he goes and he runs out of the classroom into like a broom closet. The teacher and the whole damn class come out there.
Like, what the hell, kids? Yeah.
Right. And I guess that's what you get for being like a small town in Kansas.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That would be the most entertaining thing.
Right.
You know, that would be your Netflix.
Yeah. As he's in that broom closet, the teacher's trying to coerce him to come out. He doesn't want to. He's still hearing everything. Like, he hears the kids talking about him.
Right.
And that really gives us a sense of the kind of childhood that he's having.
Right.
Like, he won't have that normal childhood. He won't get that pleasure, of being able to have a bunch of friends and to grow up, having similar problems as his other friends.
No.
Like, his puberty was hell.
Gosh. Yep.
Right. I mean, at this point, he also gets his heat vision also. So it's like, shit. He heat blasts the doorknob so the teacher can't come in.
But notice he had better control of that.
He did.
He was able to say, okay, no, don't touch that,
Right.
Instead of, like, Cyclops and cutting schools in half type stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they essentially the teacher calls down Martha to.
What did you say? I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. At least once.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like,
hey, what matters is I'm happy. Okay.
I mean, it's
I
just
made the joke.
You did the joke that millions of people have done.
I don't care.
I'm just so numb. I'm just so numb to it.
Well, hey, I was not making it in jest of either movie. I was just making it.
Yeah, but that's just, to me, that's the same thing as let's put a smile on that face. I'm like, okay.
I am tired of that phrase a lot. But there was no organic way of bringing that one up, though, So, there you go. Anyways.
So Martha Kent comes down, and she's able to talk Kent into coming, or to talk Clark into coming out. And, it really goes to show that she's the only one. She and Jonathan are really the only ones that kind of understand him. Of course, you know, in the physical sense as to what he possibly is.
I mean, they had to raise him, dude. How do you raise a baby stronger than you?
I don't know. You give him cookies and hope he doesn't throw a temper tantrum like Jack Jack from Incredibles or something.
He was Jack Jack.
But no, I really love that scene. And then like the next cutback that we get is the school bus, how it crashes off of a bridge. We get to see Pete. I think Pete Ross is his name. And that's always been Superman's childhood friend growing up. Here in this particular scene, he's kind of bullying Clark a little bit. And Clark's showing some really good restraint by not doing anything to this kid. Of course, the school bus crashes off of a bridge into a body of water. Clark pushes the bus from like the bottom of that body of water up onto shore, and then goes back and gets Pete the bully and tosses him to shore, and then he swims away. Several kids saw what he did.
And it's, I don't know, it says a lot about his character all in the compass of these 5 minutes, you know?
It does,
like,
yeah.
Oh, this kid was just beating, you know, like trying to bully me, and I really want to beat him up, but let me go save his sorry big red-headed ass.
Yeah, and that he does, you know, and that's just, it goes to say a lot about his character, like you said, and that's kind of what Superman really represents. But this,
how do you forgive an ant?
Right. Well, this movie gave us, you know, like the stereotypical beats of Superman, but it dressed it up in a humane way so that it's relatable and understandable. Yeah. You know, this dressed it up like, okay, I'm not just a god helping got you peons. I'm one of you trying to coexist among you. But no, that was a cool scene. Also, we get the scene next where Pete's parents are talking with the Kents, and you know they're like, "Your child is a miracle from God, and
your child did this, and multiple witnesses were there to place him at the scene."
Yeah, my Pete know what he saw, and then
our old woman voices are really weird. She wasn't even an old woman; it was just a mom.
Right.
Anyway,
that's my mom voice.
That was fun.
Yeah,
our mom voices are old women.
They are.
Our moms would be pissed.
But it's at this point where we get to see Jonathan Kent really for the first time in the movie. And
Kevin Costner.
Yeah, played by none other than Kevin Costner. Yeah. A lot of good actors in this movie.
Another good Kevin.
Right. Well, that's one of the few that I know. Yep. But it's at this point where the movie, not the movie as a whole, but this scene in particular, kind of crawls up its own ass. And what I mean is that I understand where the movie's trying to come from, but they could have gotten there a completely different way, a better way. So what's happening is that Jonathan, he's walking up to Clark and he's saying, you know, what you did back there, we can't really risk that. You know, the world really isn't ready to meet someone like you quite yet, Clark.
Yeah, I could have done with a different version of this scene. I was wondering which one you're going to bring up, but this one, we're
going to mention the other one as well.
Okay.
But yeah, so here he's like, Clark goes, so, you know, what would you have me do? Just let them die? And Jonathan goes, well, maybe. Okay, yeah. So at this point, I'm like, no, like I understand that.
What do you want your audience to get from this scene? You know, this moment, it's like Kevin Costner's character is either so conflicted that basic morality and like the option. Oh, I have the power. I could save like maybe like 20 lives. How many would you put on the bus? 20. Yeah. I could save 20 lives today. But I'm maybe supposed to let them drown or you know, be pulled under by bus.
Right.
Like, no, what? What about that says right to you?
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, with Kevin's performance, it seemed like Jonathan Kent felt that, you know, wasn't the morally upright thing to do, but the right thing to do to protect his son. And so...
I can get behind the protect my family because they're mine, you know? That's worthy, but what price do you need to pay to subside your fear of people finding out about your magical son, of people finding out about Superman, essentially. You know? Like, is it worth having 20 lives, most of which were kids, like 18 of which were kids?
You know? I can't account for this. I will say this overall, like, I didn't like it. They could have gone about it a different way.
Right.
But I will
essentially that's what we're saying.
Yeah. But I will say this though. I don't know what it's like to be a father. Okay. So I can't say that, you know, son, I would, like, if I had a child, you know, that that was placed in a position where he could, let's say, obviously he's not going to be Superman, but let's say that this hypothetical child was placed in a position where he could either save these lives,
sure,
but as saving these lives, he would die as a result, or he himself could escape. What would I want my son to do?
I mean, at that point, you're correct, and it is fair to bring up the bias in our opinion here because we're not dad's people. You know, I'm still too young at heart, but I mean, and you know what? That's fair. At that point, I won't say it nullifies our opinion, but it does challenge.
Yeah,
and it begs the question: if you, as a listener, are a father, you know, please feel free to let us know, educate us, you know, comment or something, message us, and let us know. Hey, you know, I'd give heaven and hell or something. Whatever's appropriate in your mind.
And you know, like, and I think that, you know, if I were a father, then, you know, I could probably see this scene a little differently.
Right.
But, you know, fortunately, the podcaster in me was able to bring out that, you know, and challenge my natural knee-jerk reaction.
Exactly, which is true, you know, because, I mean, the mom and the dad might be able to say, no, we're not having the secret found out ever.
Yeah.
But
I mean, because technically they have no right to Clark. The government could come in and take him away and then do whatever the hell.
True, which in one universe they do.
Yeah.
But,
But, you know, so once again, I understand the message that they're trying to convey, but they could have gone about it a different way.
Right. They could have more tactfully presented that idea to us.
Right. Yeah. Without having Jonathan Kent seem like some disillusioned dickhead.
Basically, like that was more something I'd expect of a father in like a horror movie type thing, you know? In certain plots, I can imagine in that, you know, but yeah. Just don't get mad at us for not being dads, folks.
I mean, like, we brought up the argument, you know, for Jonathan's argument, so I think that should, you know, kind of quiet any fears about that.
True. Hopefully, yes.
But yeah, I even have it written down here. Jonathan says maybe Clark should have let the kids die. In parentheses, what? But yeah, so, you know, we discussed that, you know, from both angles. Ultimately, it could have been done better.
Yep.
Next up, we have Jonathan showing Clark the ship and also the codex, which, of course, they don't know it's a codex, but
to them, it's just a little stick.
And this seemed like good timing because Clark just faced a really tough decision in a video game, you know, where neither result is a positive, you know.
Yeah.
So you have to choose the lesser of two evils. And Jonathan shows him the ship and you know, presents it to him and goes like, you know, you're not from here. We found you in this ship, and I had this had this metal thing tested, and the minerals is made of is not from this world.
So basically, our boy Clark just got told, so not only were you adopted, son, but you were adopted into the human race.
Yeah.
Like, you're not from here, pal.
Right. Fortunately, they were able to cover up that last scene, but they were able to at least give us another cool, heartfelt moment here where Clark is like, you know, I don't want any of this. I didn't ask for any of this. Can I just be your son? And, you know, Jonathan goes, of course, well, you are my son. And
good old Kevin Costner.
Yeah. If anyone can do that type of scene and chew it up, it's definitely Kevin Costner.
Yeah. And in Costner's defense, he did seem, you know, detached as his character. Not detached from the role, so don't mishear me, but detached in saying maybe. Like, he sounded unsure.
He did,
you know, in his defense. Mm-hmm. I will happily throw that out there. Like, I don't know, shrugging, maybe, you know.
Right, he didn't say, well, maybe, you know.
Exactly, he didn't, you know, bitch it out.
Right, he looked away and almost mumbled, you know, well, maybe. You know, like he was also unsure. Like he himself didn't know what the right course of action should be.
Right.
And that's got to be really tough for a parent, not being able to tell your child, you know, yes or no.
Yeah, no, I mean, in this case, you gotta somehow teach your kid that there's not really a right decision. There's just two choices, you know.
Right.
Both of them have consequences. Good luck. You know? Yeah.
That's just hard.
Yeah.
Next up, we get, I call this the douche pickle scene. So we get adult Clark, a.k.a. Joe. And he's kind of like working now in this little diner place. And
Diner's kind of kind. It was like a dive bar.
It was kind of like a dive bar.
Yeah.
That served food.
Yeah, certain bars do.
Right. I mean, because they had an actual like waitress that looked like a diner-esque waitress.
Okay.
And the douche pickle, he's hitting on this waitress, and his flirting is definitely, and touching is definitely unwarranted.
Right, it's very inappropriate.
Yeah. He's not catching the drift that she's, you know, trying to send him, like, get your damn hands off of me. Apparently, that's not clear enough for douche pickle.
No, instead that's like an invitation. Hey, I'm gonna grab that. Like, no,
right?
What? No, don't be a douchebag, trash piece of human. Okay,
don't be a douche pickle.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah,
that's a T-shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. It is a T-shirt,
and it's gonna have that guy throwing a can.
Right.
Yeah.
So of course our boy Clark walks up to the guy and goes, you know, you should leave her alone. You know, she don't touch her. All that stuff. He does what any good guy would want to do in that situation, and you know what any upstanding guy would do there.
Yeah.
But you know, douche pickle, I don't know if he's drunk.
No, I just think he's just an asshole.
Yeah, he's just a douche pickle.
Exactly.
Okay, so let me paint this picture here, because douche pickle is disillusioned because obviously he doesn't know that Joe is a Superman.
Right.
But even still, Joe is like almost half a foot taller than this guy, way bigger than him.
Yeah.
Why would you still try to physically assault someone that obviously has a very larger physical stature than you?
The ego, man, it's a powerful tool. If you yourself believe you're the shit, and you can somehow also simultaneously convince yourself that this bigger foe, is a coward or something of the sort, I'm not surprised at all.
Right.
You know, smaller people have been picking fights on bigger, quieter, kinder folks for ages. You know.
Yeah.
So that part itself didn't bother me. What did bother me though was very peculiar, and I had to stop and go back and watch the beginning again actually because of this scene. And it's something so small. But podcaster eyes, man, they sometimes they get lucky and catch things. In this case, our boy pushed Joe, quote unquote Clark Kent, and he moved. Not Joe. No, Joe just stood there.
Right.
You know, I'm sure he might have accidentally fractured his hand. Maybe
it looked more like a headbutt, like he tried to headbutt his chest.
Just about, yeah. But he basically tried to push or assault him, and then he himself was like, punted back. But scenes earlier, another dude tried to tackle Clark whenever he was Joe the fisherman.
Yeah.
And then was able to easily, like, tackle him out of the way of a falling piece of equipment or something on the boat. Remember that scene? So when he's picking up some rope or something? Yeah.
My thoughts on that is, like...
Whatever you have to explain it.
Yeah, if you and I are in a confrontation and you go to push me, there's a chance that I might not budge. However,
you are pretty damn big.
However, if there was something about to fall on me and I'm not paying attention to it or you could tackle me and definitely take me off my feet because I'm not paying any attention. Okay, I'm not on guard.
I'll give you that. There's the element of surprise there, so it's like he's not standing there tense because he's in a situation. He's just standing there because he doesn't know something's about to fall. Right. But I don't know. It's Superman too, so there's and also other things.
Yeah, I mean, because at this point, like, we can't really address whether this scenario is a pro or a con for the movie because I mean we can't really guess as to like the entire physiological stature of Superman.
Okay, that's a little reaching. I think because we know Superman is more than a man, and we know that if he wanted to, he could flick through this guy's skull. You know, if he really wanted to.
I don't know. Superman in the comics could, but Superman in this universe has never shown that feat of strength.
Okay, I mean, we can do that, but
I mean, like I'm going based off of the evidence that the movies present us.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I feel like the movie has also presented us plenty of evidence, either down the road or wherever you want to pull it from, that this is still.
Yeah, I mean, because if you want to go that route, then Batman or Norman Man is taking Superman off his feet. I mean, so it's really one of those things where it's like it could be. I don't know, like it could be one way or another.
Yeah, but it's one of those, I guess, just give them the benefit of the doubt things. But I'm hesitant to just let it slide. You know, I think it's going into another issue almost, but I think it's actually just part of a different problem. It's what worked for the scene. Yeah, and it's not the first time directors have done things like that. You know, because. Yeah, you might have caught Superman by surprise, but that dude tackling him would have known that dude is harder than anything else he's ever tackled in his life.
He probably did.
Yeah, I mean, either way, you know, it's cute we're defending it, but
I mean, I think it's kind of cute that we're assaulting it because like there's
not
nothing
assaulting it. Yeah,
I mean, it's like there's no. Yeah, I guess it's just it depends on once again like perspective.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's definitely something that's there and that's noticeable if you're looking for it. For sure.
What is noticeable is what freaking Clark does afterwards, though. That was great.
That shit was... Okay, see, you know, this is where like, my mentality comes in.
What's that?
How'd you do that so quietly? Like, good Lord. Like, Clark doesn't...
That's a good point. That's a question.
Clark doesn't physically assault Douche Pickle, but I hope he got the right truck. Unfortunately, he goes outside and he notices Douche Pickle's truck.
Right.
And we don't see it, but Clark mangles it with like telephone poles and this.
Yeah, he takes like maybe there's lumber in the back or something, like actual tree poles, and they just.
I mean, because there was no noise for that as far as I can remember. I mean, like we don't see the scene, but you just assume that maybe there'd be a lot of commotion with that, and maybe people would be like, "What is that noise?"
This is me literally switching roles on you, so get ready for the whiplash, okay? and again, this isn't defense. This is cutting the panels, but maybe our pissed Clark took the truck, carried it off, okay, did his shit elsewhere, and brought it back. Which is stupid. Again, not defending.
But the thing of it is, though, is that like we don't see how it's destroyed. It could have been. Maybe we don't know how. Maybe he meticulously took every piece and just bent it so slightly that no noise was made.
He just said. Stop that. Yeah. Who knows, man? Yeah, but it is funny. Right. It's one of those like
because as far as I remember, I don't think that they noticed a noise from it. But
no, I mean, all that we see is like the humorous aspect. I think they wanted us to see him coming out, shuffling the keys, and then looking up and finally seeing, oh, my truck. What happened to my truck? Like, what Stranger Things otherworldly force did this?
Was it fucking Sasquatch? Did he come through and...
That's an impressive Sasquatch. Even for Sasquatch.
Yeah. Even for Sasquatch, that's impressive.
Right. Even Sasquatch is in the sidelines like...
Yeah.
Eating some Jack Links.
Right. I think that scene was equal humor and also showing us that even he has his frustrations.
Which, yeah.
I mean, I guess you figure, I could put this guy in the hospital for a year, or I could just fuck with his livelihood. It's hard to say.
For a year, he would have mangled him for life. Like he needs walking therapy type of mangling. Yeah.
I'm assuming that maybe like if I used I don't know an 18th of my power. And still hold back.
Concussed, KO'd definitely. Wakes up 10 minutes later. What happened? That would have been hilarious.
Right.
But, that would have also been like Superman possibly being evil in a sort. So
that'd be like the first step down the dark road.
Exactly. He would have pressed the O button instead of the
X,
triangle or something. Yeah.
I think also one of the main things that we get from the whole douche pickle scene is Clark notices two soldiers talking about some kind of strange finding that they found, I think, in Antarctica. Some kind of ship. They're saying that it is really old and alien, or they didn't say alien, but really old, and they don't really recognize where it could be from.
Right. They're still scavenging it.
Yeah. And so Clark kind of picks up on that, which leads to us to our next scene, which is the Lois Lane introduction.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Let's interrupt and have an intermission here. So, one of many. Because we're maybe 30 minutes into the movie?
Yep.
Hot damn. Amy Adams. How'd you feel about her performance?
I thought that she actually played a really strong Lois Lane.
No, same here, dude. I loved it.
Yeah. I do understand some people's frustrations about, the hair color. She's not, she's a redhead.
See, my problem is I'm not trustworthy to ask about that. And you know why? Because I love redheads. So seeing her on screen was all positive for me.
Yeah.
And it's Lois Lane does have black hair. Whatever.
I guess for the truly diehard Superman fans, they're upset about it. And I can't make fun of them because what if they gave me a live action Catwoman that was blonde? I'd be like, no, wait a minute.
Wait. Yeah. I mean, I can totally see that, but they just had the right color scheme for me, man. And then my whole mindset. Hey, Amy Adams on screen. How you doing, girl? What's going on?
Yeah.
Don't give her that to sleep in. Give her a damn good room. Don't make her sleep in a storage closet. Right. Who the hell do you think you are, CSI? Yeah. There's a couple layered jokes there. I hope everyone got them. Yeah. Anywho.
So we get to meet Lois for the first time, and she's working with the Arctic Cargo. And it's like some kind of... is this guy Air Force or Marine? He's some kind of military branch general, captain, leader guy.
Yes.
And
General Big Shot.
Who he kind of gets like a little mini story arc all on his own, which we'll get into.
He kind of does.
Yeah. But basically, Joe, aka Clark, he's also there. He's helping out with just like the loading and unloading of the cargo.
Colonel.
Oh, he's a colonel. Yeah. All the titles, and that's the one I missed.
Ironically, yes.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, so we got the colonel here and all of his men, and they're investigating this large object that they're thinking is around 20,000 years old. And the reason why they're so interested in it is because at first they thought it was like a USSR ship that got frozen, like a submarine that got submerged, until they tested the ice around it and saw that it's been there for about 20,000 years. And so they're like, well, this definitely isn't anything USSR or any kind of military craft. So what is it?
It amazes me that there's ice that old, honestly. I mean, you hear about global warming and then it's just like, oh, this ice hasn't been touched by anything. Yeah. So it's like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I wonder how many like woolly mammoths we can find in ice like that. Yeah.
I mean, shit.
Who knows? Maybe layers of ice have melted for them to be able to find it that way. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, at this point, we would have to be there and kind of see it,
Is 20,000-year-old ice petrified ice?
We need to talk to another podcast. We need to talk to the Ice Bros.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
That's a horrible podcast name. I hope no one ever uses that seriously. Anyways.
Let's see. So, Lois, she follows Clark to the ship. And Clark, he inserts the codex.
Also, I want to ask you one more question here, but seriously, when she took that picture of the escape and everything, and she knew where to zoom in at to see this microscopic man to her point of view, how the hell did she know to do that? I'm not trying to find errors, but my mind couldn't ignore this.
I have no idea.
Because she was just like, click. Oh, look, I know what I'm doing. Move up and left this way, and there he is.
Well, yeah, she that was definitely just there for convenience purposes.
Basically.
Yeah.
Whatever. I just wanted to highlight that they did that.
Oh, yeah.
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 Okay.
They definitely did that. Yeah, so she follows Clark onto the ship, and Clark, he inserts the codex, and he's attacked by like the sentry bot until he inserts the codex, and then it lets him go. And he follows like the ghost of his father. Of course, he doesn't know at this time that that's the consciousness of his father that he's following on the ship.
Super cool, pretty convenient technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, super. Because the dad was like actually conversing, so it's like,
Yeah.
I'm glad we can see Russell Crowe again. That's cool.
Right. Yeah.
More than just a beginning cameo, basically.
Yeah. Oh man, that reminds me, Marlon Brando. Do you know that's who played the father? That's who played Jor-El in the original Superman movies. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So once again, we go from Marlon Brando to Russell Crowe. Little bit of a difference there, as far as they're both amazing actors, but definitely interesting to think of Marlon Brando as Jor-El. But no, so Lois, she goes on the ship, and I don't want to paint a demographic here and say that this is the dumb white girl mentality, but she takes a picture of this floating robot that looks like it's straight from Portal.
She went from intelligent importer who's won awards and who was well respected to, oh, I'm a sorority chick now.
Click.
I wonder what's in this dark closet on the night of Halloween. Two of my friends are missing. Okay.
Yeah.
You shut the hell up, bimbo. Okay?
Right. I'm like,
Don't be this person.
What possessed you to... I get it on one hand. Like, you want to get this on camera. Like, oh, look at this.
Right.
Take a freaking film recorder with you. Something to...
Wear a camera,
Right.
Yeah. They had those in 2013.
Right. Yeah, or bring a camcorder with you or something, but just don't take a picture of it.
Especially a flash picture, because that thing, who knows what it thinks a flash is?
Yeah. It probably thinks it's being attacked.
Exactly.
Which is probably why it attacked her.
Yep. But with fancy metal from space.
Come to find out, the Kryptonians hate flash photography.
Yep.
Anyways, she takes a picture of this sentry bot, and it goes ape shit on her, throws her across the ship, and just freaking lashes out at her.
Erase it.
Yeah. delete. Yeah. Superman hears the commotion, and Clark hears the commotion. He comes down and destroys the sentry bot. He cauterizes Lois's wound with his heat vision, and he drops her ass off somewhere else. And he takes the ship, and by listening to his deceased father's consciousness, he takes the ship and flies it off somewhere else.
There is a short point I want to highlight here. Something I really appreciated of Henry's portrayal of Superman and the decisions made in this movie. So notice, as soon as he realized that Lois was hurt, that she was pierced even,
right.
He did not hesitate to tell her, look, I can stop this, but I need you to trust me, and whatever else he said. And he actually throws aside the philosophy of hiding he's been taught his whole life, and instead basically shows her blatant evidence. Hey, look, I'm going to cauterize this with my eyeballs.
Yeah.
And I really respect that, because no matter what situation, he knew what was, in his mind right.
Yeah,
and he acted on it.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess because, you can... I think you can try to dress this scene up and say what you would have done, but I don't see Lois surviving very well. And then even if he doesn't cauterize her wounds, but he drops her off, she can still be like, okay, there's the super strong guy that crushed a sentry bot.
I got it. I know what he could have done. Okay, here we go. And this might have actually made some of those diehard old school Superman fans who are unhappy with the movie happier. So check it.
Rewind time so that it never happens?
Oh, hell no. Don't do that, because no one needs that one again. But instead, he does all the things, and then he goes, watch out, there's something over there. And then flies away super quick, comes back with eyeglasses, thus introduces himself. Oh, I'm sorry, I followed you up here. My name's Clark Kent. Bum.
Hot damn.
Exactly. And then the super guy is gone because she would have been like, oh, who's this glasses geek? Of course he's not, you know, the Superman.
I will say this. One thing I appreciate about this movie is that he's not that OP.
True. He's still like, you know, gauging his strength and finding it out. Yeah. But
there's no lifting eternity for this Superman.
Thank dadgum goodness. That still makes me upset. Anyway.
I was looking at the wrong page. I was like, oh, the killing of Zod? That's not now. What?
Some of the listeners, what? We're here already?
Yeah, so that's the next scene. He kills Zod.
Another listener's like, damn guys, I know you're recording pretty late, but come on, don't skimp me. Let's not skimp nobody.
Yep. I was way off course. Don't know how I got there, but anyways.
So wait. You're over here at this top part of the left page, and you went to the bottom of the right page.
Yes, I did.
I love it.
Yes, I
do. Anywho, just a funny note.
So the next thing we get here is Lois. She's at the Daily Planet, and what's the name of this place? Because I always get them confused. Daily Planet, is that Superman or Spider-Man?
No, Daily Planet is... Shit. Now you got me second guessing myself, but that's Metropolis. And
then what's the one that's in Spider-Man?
No, stop. Don't you do this to me. The Daily Bugle.
Daily Bugle, okay.
Yes, there it goes.
Okay. Okay, we're good. Okay.
I was sitting there like, why are we paused? Is everything okay? Did the recorder stop for some stupid... Oh, Daily Planet?
Okay, we're good. Everything's
that's
good.
Funny.
Yeah. Yeah, she's at the Daily Planet, and she's talking to Perry White, and he's trying to get her, or she's trying to get him to publish this story about this mystery man that's probably an alien, a super strong alien that saved her life. Perry White, played by Lawrence Fishburne, another great actor, he's not having any of it, and he actually gives us good reasoning as to why.
I'm a huge fan of Lawrence.
Yeah.
Man. He is so damn cool.
Right.
He's on the list of famous black people I'd love to sit and have a drink with, you know?
Yeah.
Like, dude, just talk.
Right.
I'm not going to say anything, just talk. How you doing?
He, like, one thing that I noticed about him, and he was actually on the Nerdist podcast. I know that's a tender name to bring up nowadays, people. But anyways, he was on the Nerdist podcast some time ago.
Okay.
And he was, talking about how... Oh, Chris Hardwick, he mentioned how Lawrence Fishburne really doesn't seem to have a genre. And Lawrence goes, yeah, that's by design. I try to do a little bit of everything to really perfect my craft. And that's true because
that is respect.
Yeah. Because I think it's easy for an actor, not easy, but I think it's more suitable for most actors when they get accustomed to a certain type of role and then stick with it.
I'm going to go back and defend you here. I don't think it's unfair to say it's easy.
Okay.
If Matt Damon was given another role just like Bourne Identity, I think he easily could tackle that role and be comfortable even doing so. Yeah. And in that, find, content.
Yeah, it's like most actors have a niche,
Exactly.
Like The Rock has his niche. Tom Cruise has his.
The Rock definitely has a niche.
He does, yeah.
Or, who's worse? Oh, give me a second. Bruce Willis. I love his stuff.
Jason Statham.
Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Who else always plays himself? This is fun. Who else only plays himself in movies?
George Clooney. Like
George Clooney. He's the example. He's the personification.
He plays the same. Like, people talk about how great he is as an actor.
Yeah.
But he really does play the same guy.
He's always himself.
Even when he was Bruce Wayne, he was George Clooney pretending to be Bruce Wayne.
And he's good, and people love him, but still, come on, man.
Yeah. There's a plethora of them out there.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
But Lawrence Fishburne is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's Perry White. That's where we're at.
That was fun.
Yeah. Oh, shit. But no, he actually gives a good reason as to why Lois is not going to publish that article under his umbrella.
Oh, yeah, no, he gives a couple.
Yeah. So you want me to do like this tabloid bullshit about how your handsome alien lover saved your life with his super strength and heat vision. I think not, Lois.
Whoa, wait, I didn't write down he was a lover, did I? Oh, I did write down I want to have sex with him. Okay, erase that.
Oh, man. But she goes to, like, this little tabloid sleazy guy, and she gives the story to him for him to publish online.
So basically BuzzFeed.
Basically.
Yeah.
Ooh, I hope BuzzFeed didn't hear that.
Yeah, no offense to BuzzFeed, but it's like...
It's kind of true, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's see. So the next thing we get here is Clark meeting his father, or his father's consciousness. Mm-hmm. And what I have written down here is that what we get next is actually well-used exposition. I always call out exposition in the movie wherever I hear it. But here it was actually well-used. Similar to how when we covered X-Men 1, we talked about the exposition in that movie. But
the X-Mansion scene.
Yeah, it was well-used because it wasn't just explaining it to us as an audience, but it was explaining it to Wolverine, the character.
Right.
So it was suitable.
And well-used exposition can actually even be fun to watch sometimes.
It can, yeah.
Right,
and it's the same thing here with Ghost Jor-El explaining things to his son Cal.
Ghost Rail. Ghost Lel. There it is. Because the other one sounds like the train rail with a ghost.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Or just Ghost L. I don't know.
Ghost L.
Yeah.
Ghost L.
Yeah.
Too many syllables.
And yeah, so he basically reveals like the origin of Clark, the planet, and what happened.
And he even had a Power Boom presentation.
He did. Very much so.
Yeah.
He did. We get the reveal of the suit, which I actually thought was a really tasteful reveal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little convenient, but it definitely was well done.
You're right. It was convenient.
It
was convenient that this suit was there that, had like the dimensions.
Like this part of the story wasn't without friction for me, but it was a good part of the story.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, like because like with that suit, I don't know what that suit was really supposed to be, because if I'm getting my facts straight here, the ship that Clark is on, it's a ship that landed on Earth as an outpost approximately 20,000 years ago. Because as Zod says at the beginning of the movie, there were Kryptonian ships that were sent everywhere, since they've been colonizing,
right?
And they were going out everywhere, and they had these outposts all over the place. Mm-hmm. But this ship here apparently has been sitting in that ice for like 20,000 years. And so, like, if that's the case, then what's the purpose of this suit? I guess a little bit more exposition on that maybe would have taken us out of the movie a little bit. But something would have been nice to see, like, so why is the suit here?
Right.
Who is it for? It's for me? How is it for me?
I mean, and most of the conventional... defenses you can think of for this moment, like, oh, that was just like a...
Did everyone wear this suit?
Exterior suit. Oh, yeah, like the worker's suit, the miner's suit. Well, why does a miner need a cape?
Yeah.
Yeah, you beat me to it.
Yeah, it has a cape. But see, my other defense is going to be maybe this is what Jor-El wanted for his son when he shot him out into space. But once again, I think this ship has been here. I think this ship has been here for 20,000 years. In which case, that can't be. Like, unless this ship is so high tech that it has like a Superman suit manufacturing component in it, then I don't see how this suit is here.
Well, that would explain how Superman goes back and gets more of them,
That was another question I had, actually.
The outpost is a suit making factory.
It's a suit making factory because that's Kryptonian fabric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's another thing. So everyone I noticed on Kryptonian planet, Krypton bullshit, I'm tired, says everyone wore like dark colors, like black and grays. And the leader, the old man with the like really wrinkled skin and the ears that stuck out like satellites, he had some color to him. But they all generally wore black, gray, monotone colors like that. This suit was blue and red and like a dark inlay of gold. And it's like, okay,
right.
Why is this here?
Yeah. It's like...
Is this a clown uniform on your planet?
It's like I do really like the idea of the suit coming from Jor-El and Krypton. I don't like the lack of explanation.
The presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. That could have been better. Like give us something, like even just one or two lines of exposition.
We would be the guys who look this gift horse in the mouth. Like if we were in Superman's shoes, hey, computer dad, what's with the suit? Did you know I was coming? What?
Right.
Well, how is it here, Dad? Why is this here?
How's it here?
What do you expect me to do with this?
How'd you know my my measurements?
Where's the red underwear?
Yeah.
Oh man, but anywho.
But no, yeah. So we get the scene where he gets his suit, and then we get the first look at actual Superman.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, we all know, guys, by now that I'm not the biggest Superman fan in the world. But when I saw him emerge from that ship in the Superman suit, I was like, holy shit, that's pretty badass. I had to give it to him. That was a pretty badass look. And I can probably count the number of times on one hand I've said that about Superman. But Henry Cavill and that suit really does look like a really cool Superman. And I don't know how many times I've been able to say that, but yeah, that was a really cool look.
It was definitely a fresher look. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it worked for him.
Yeah. It worked for him. He looked like Superman. And then after the movie, I watched some not deleted scenes, but like special features.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of the cast members actually kind of had the same thought, except they saw him in person. When they're like, "Whoa, like this guy." I'm not looking at an actor that's playing Superman. It's like I'm looking at Superman. And I think that must have been a really cool thing to see on set. Because I got a vibe from that just watching the movie with his appearance stepping from the ship.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can only imagine how cool it would have been to see him for the first time.
Wait, how is the cape done? Was there an actual physical cape or what's up?
Certain scenes, yeah. I mean, like when he's flying, no, there's nothing there.
Right. Because at that point, it's like, okay, this fabric, what happened to it? Yeah, but interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But when he's like standing still or walking, then in most scenes there was an actual cape.
Right.
But this thing we get here is him flying, and he takes him a little while.
It's like he's never flown before.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we get here, is that he's never flown before. What's up?
No, I would think that at this point he's already flown a few times in his life, So I don't know. That was just a thought I just now had, though,
right.
not while I watched.
I don't know. I guess I watched it under the assumption that he's never flown before, because he kind of gets a pep talk from his dad, and I think that kind of convinces him that, and then also the badass suit, that because Jor-El, I think he said something about testing the limits of his something along those lines.
Yeah, I remember that line.
Yeah. And he flies a little bit, and then he kind of lands ungracefully. But then we get the scene where he actually like kneels down, fist to the ground,
right.
And then does that classic Superman takeoff.
You know what would be super funny? Since this was his first time flying when he had the suit on, he lands again and turns to his computer dad and says, "Wow, Kryptonian fabric's the stuff. Do you have any more capes that can make you fly?"
Yep. But no, I really like the scene where he flies. I thought that was a pretty cool scene. One common thing that a lot of haters of this movie always says is that he doesn't smile. This is actually one of several scenes where he smiles. Yes,
yeah,
I've chronicled
I remember
it.
that.
Yep.
Because he's kind of like flying through the air, like
yeah, kind of cheesing.
Cheesing.
Yep. Lois is on the search for Joe. She's kind of going everywhere looking for this man named Joe, this mythical creature of a man. Essentially, she comes into contact with Martha Kent, and she goes to Jonathan Kent's grave, and that's where she's able to find Clark. And she's asking Clark, so why don't you let me write your story? It's going to come out one way or another. You might as well let me do it and let me introduce you properly. And Clark was basically saying how it's not her decision to make, and it's his this is his burden to bear, and like if he doesn't want to do that, then you don't have to.
Right.
It's a nice way of saying no. Fuck you.
Basically, and he looks like a gravedigger at this point. Too.
He does, yes,
Yeah,
he does. He definitely does look like a
what's he have on, like an oversized baseball jersey or something? I
think
don't know.
he had an oversized coat on with a baseball hat, pulled down
okay.
over his face.
But it was just like, where'd the Superman clothes go?
Yeah.
Anywho,
so let's see. So next up, Perry, we see Lois again talking with Perry, and the reason I took note of that is because there's another really interesting talk between the two. Perry's like, why did he? First of all, he goes, I know that you shopped out that article I told you not to write, and you did it on a tabloid. So you're going to be suspended without pay for 3 weeks. But I'm curious, what made you all of a sudden want to drop the story? And she says that, all my leads went cold. And Perry goes, I don't believe you, but whatever your reasoning is, I think you do have a good reason for doing it. And I thought that said a lot about the complexity of Perry we get in these few scenes, and also
I just had a random thought. It's stupid, but it's worth it. If this was the Daily Bugle, like we were debating earlier, Jonah Jameson would have been like, the hell with that. You're putting the story. Give me pics of Spider-Man. Put the cigar back in his mouth. And it's just like Amy Adams standing there like, but I decided not to. The leads went cold. I don't believe you. That's bullshit. Print the story. Give me pics of Spider-Man. I can see it now. Thank you, Lawrence Fishburne.
Next scene, Clark tells Martha that he found his people, and Martha, she's not exactly thrilled. She's like, because I guess from a mother's perspective, she's like, is my son still going to be my son?
Right, and that's an understandable emotional burden,
Right.
Yeah. Again, just another aspect of how this movie was human.
Yeah. The next few scenes we get here I thought were really cool. We get the military. They're made known of this UFO in orbit, and they're saying by the patterns of this UFO, it looks like they want us to notice them.
These guys, and this is a potential flaw I'm highlighting. Potentially for me, I do see it as a flaw. Everyone is just super comfortable with alien life. Like, this is a UFO. And then the other guy, okay. Like, he's just
a UFO is just unidentified flying object. Like, they're not saying that.
But then they give it the powers of, and it looks like they want us to see them.
I think they say it. Okay. It looks like whatever it is, like, it looks like it wants to be known. Yeah.
Yeah, but at that point, they're giving it like it had the power to choose whether or not it wants to be known.
Yeah. So it's like I don't know if they're thinking AI or actual organic life.
Either way, they are totally cool with it. Like, okay.
Hey, maybe they're trying to tell us, hey, our military's seen this shit before.
There's something there to be had. Definitely.
There is. But yeah, they are kind of casual with it, and I guess the movie would have been unnecessarily 10 minutes longer had they gone back and forth about the nature of the object.
Right, kind of like a whole nother. Oh, what was that? A rifle?
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you haven't. Okay, no. They spent some time on that. It slowed down a little bit at that point.
Right. And that's kind of the problem with like movies that introduce concepts like that, because it's like, do you get to like the meat of the movie, or do you spend so much time debating what it is or what it could be?
In that example, they really did. They picked it up, and it was a good movie. It's worth watching.
That's another Amy Adams movie.
Oh my gosh, yes it is. No, I am not accidentally that good. Give me a second. That might have been too blank. It is! I am that good!
Oh, I think you mean I am that good.
Well, I subconsciously mentioned it, so I'm subconsciously Anywho.
Yep. Next scene here is that the UFO sighting I have is an awesome moment. So at this point, basically, if you're standing in the right spot or if you have a telescope, you can clearly see the UFO. Like, it's pretty much orbiting Earth's atmosphere at this point. Like it's that close. And I love what they do here. So like they kill Zod and his people. They kill like all the power, and then they broadcast essentially you are not alone in like all the languages, so that everybody on Earth can understand you are not alone.
I was a little interested in knowing. I'm wondering why they did this. I'm going to ask you the same question here.
Yeah.
He was able and had the technology to broadcast in multi languages at the same time perfectly, but the visuals were wonky. You know, like they purposely clouded it out. Why would you think they did that?
Fear.
To cause fear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I also think that's why they made sure to say that you are not alone. Because that can be taken, you know, a couple of ways. That can be taken like, hey man, you know, you're not alone, or they can be taken like, you are not alone.
True. I suppose the idea of hiding how similar to humanity they look would help them out in that case.
Right.
You know, because if it looks like another human, skeptical minds would have said, which country's doing this? This is bullcrap, you know.
Right.
But instead, now the threat is more real because you don't know what said it.
Yeah, and I think they killed the power as a power play, you know, to be like, hey, this is...
Oh no, that's straight up power play. Yeah, that's like Power Play 101.
Right.
That was a book.
And then the aliens also signal for the surrender of Kal-El. They basically say one of us lives among you. Surrender him, or you know there will be severe consequences.
I love how the whole world is at hostage. You know, the poor people in like Japan are like, which one of you is like, you know, what's going on,
I
man?
can see it now. There's a giant UN meeting the next day. They all draw guns. Which one has the alien?
Everybody in Wakanda is like, chill out. They don't know we exist. It's cool, bruh. It's cool, okay?
Yeah. Are the shields surrounding the city, are they still up and functioning? Okay, good.
They don't see us, trust us. We have the same technology. It's even better than theirs, okay? It's cool. Our broadcast would have been clear. It's cool.
And yes, people, we know that those are two different universes.
Oh,
okay.
Yes, I was happily making that reference.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
But I really like that scene though, because they didn't make it at this point. It felt like an alien invasion versus, you know, a comic book movie, and I really appreciated that vibe.
I can actually even visualize older comics where it literally would have been like conveniently the TV closest to the people connected, and would have been actual General Zod and like old school uniforms, like lightning bolts off the collar, something stupid, just like, give me Superman, you know, like how do you know he's Superman?
Right.
Yeah. Classic writing.
Yep. Oh man. The next thing we get here is that the FBI is after Lois, and after a very short chase, they catch her. She is not used to running from the feds.
No.
Yep.
Because they just like,
right.
Lois, there's policemen outside of our building. I see them, and you're trying to run at this point? You should have started running ages ago, but it's too late, girl.
Well, once you see them, it's too late.
It's too late, baby. Oh, it's too late.
Sure. Yep.
I don't remember the lyrics. I can't make the joke. I don't know the song. Yeah.
Me either.
But that was a reference to a song.
Okay.
It's gonna bug me a little bit, but not enough to stop me. Let's go.
We get another flashback here of these bullies picking a fight with teenage Clark. They push him, and he quote unquote falls down. And he grabs like a hold of like this fence railing, and when he grabs it, he bends it in.
Unbeknown to them.
Yeah. And you know, the bullies, they only leave once they see that Clark's dad is behind them, and then they kind of leave. And then at this point, Pete, the former
Kevin Costner.
Yeah, at this point, Pete, the former bully, goes over and he helps Clark up. You know, it's almost like an unspoken agreement, like, you know, we don't have to talk about that.
Yeah,
you know?
like, thanks for helping me up, and thanks for not talking about what I can do. In his version, I can imagine him thinking, I'm sorry I was ever like them.
Yeah.
And thank you for not killing them in front of me.
Right. And thank you for not killing me, and thank you for saving my life, actually.
A lot of thank yous are necessary.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the last one. Did you really bend that yourself just now? Damn, you're impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they leave when they see Jonathan Kent. John tells Clark that he needs to decide who he wants to be. And I think the reason why that's so pivotal to not just the movie, but this scene in particular is because Jonathan's like, look, we both know that you really don't have to take their shit. But, you know, it may be better for you that you have to kind of eat some of it. So you're going to have to decide one day who you want to be. Do you want to be the person that doesn't take any shit? Or do you want to, you know, be like us and live among us? It's going to be your decision. And right now, in the current day, now Superman has to make this decision. Like, do I live in the shadows and not reveal myself? Or do I reveal myself? And so.
Basically letting the world continue to be held hostage.
Right.
Essentially. Yeah.
So this next scene, I was a little taken aback because I don't really understand why he did this. He goes to a church and he confides in a priest. Why tell this?
Yeah, that one was a little weird for me too, because it's like, who is this guy?
Right, like you're not Daredevil, you know.
Good reference.
Yeah. So I don't know why he just wants to confide in. I mean, I get it that, you know, as a layman, maybe he's honor bound to not say anything, but I don't think that this is said in confidence or anything. This is just kind of.
I mean, it looked like it was an unofficial confession because it wasn't like a booth or something cool and convenient like that. But it looks like that's what we were supposed to take from it.
Yeah.
You know? And so I'll give him the benefit of that doubt. But I'm still doubtful as to what is this?
Yeah.
Right here? What are we doing right now?
Right. I mean, it's like, I understand that, you know, you're lost and that you don't know what to do and that you don't have a whole lot of people that you can confide in. But why the priest?
Yeah. Honestly, in talking about it now, it's an idea that this was just a medium for them to convey more humanity from this super being. But it was just weird the format they did so, using this priest, this random other dude, as the means to do so.
I think it would have been
lens.
It would have been different had we seen maybe one or two other scenes with Clark and this priest.
Yeah, that would have been cooler. Like at least him and his dad having a father moment on the way from service where this dude just preached or something. That could have been anything, you know. But no, or maybe inserting preacher here is just weird.
Or maybe even, you know, if we got a scene earlier in the movie where the Kents, you know, needed the father to do something, and so they had to confide in him about their son.
Or they were doing farm work for the father. Anything, you know. And like we see all of them together, but no.
Well, just something that shows that we can trust the priest, basically is what I'm looking for.
You know what? I got it. Here you go. You ready for this? You ready? This is a stoner thought. Get ready. The priest was actually Martian Manhunter, okay? Stop me now.
We're wrapping this podcast up. We're done here.
Oh, man.
But no, moving on here. One thing that I thought was actually pretty cool is that as Superman is sitting down talking to this priest, right behind him is a mural of Christ in Gethsemane. I thought that was pretty fitting, all things considered, seeing that Superman's about to go through some shit.
That was some well-hidden symbolism there.
It was, how it's him, you know, wanting to talk to his father, asking like, so is this really what I should do? Like, yeesh. And he's basically about to sacrifice himself for humanity, you know, and so I thought there were some really strong parallels there. Yeah,
fitting ones, really.
Yeah. And the priest basically says sometimes you have to take a leap of faith. You know, this is a leap of faith that could get either him or the world or everyone killed.
Right, so like this is more than a leap at this point. You're at least bounding.
Exactly. This is a full-on belly flop off the cliff. So Superman decides to turn himself in. He turns himself over to the government, to the military. He's placed in an interrogation room with Lois per requested, and you know, she asks what the S is. He goes, "On my planet, it's not an S. It's my sigil for hope." And she goes, "Well, it looks like an S here on our planet, and maybe it should stand for." And then we, you know,
I really don't like scenes like that anymore. I don't know, man.
No,
it's
Was it the?
That's just my preference again.
Yeah.
I know that's my preference,
Yeah.
but it's like, okay, I know you're trying to be cute, but
Which part of the
go to hell?
Which part of the scene was it? Like the part where she's like, maybe we should call you, and then they cut out as Superman.
Exactly that part. That part right there, just all the time makes me need to swallow my tongue. Just every time, it's like, oh my gosh, just either say it or don't approach it. But don't give me this lukewarm bullshit. It's not cute anymore, okay? When it was original, look what they almost did.
Yeah.
But now, don't do it anymore. You're pissing me off.
Yeah, I'm indifferent on it. I'm indifferent on it. Doesn't bother me or help me out.
If
one
you
way
can
or another.
creatively do it, then sure, that's great. If you can even hide it and say you did it, and then I go back and watch it, and then, oh wow, there it is.
Yeah.
That's even better. But
I know there's other examples, but
just-
I'm trying to think of some. Once again, like I can see your disinterest in it, but
right,
it didn't. Once again, it didn't bother me one way or another.
and I hope I'm not the only one out there, so that we can get directors to stop okaying this. You know, but petition now.
Yeah.
Anyways,
But yeah, that was just a little wink and nod. Let's see. The next thing we get here is he surrenders himself over to Zod, and but before he does so, he lets the government know that they will never be able to control him as he breaks the handcuffs like they're paper mache.
he moved them like they were nothing.
Yeah.
Like they were weaker than paper clips. Because he's just like, let's get one thing straight. Click.
Yep.
Like no effort.
Right. There was literally zero effort put into it.
And he's just like looking through the glass the
Yeah.
whole time. Like, I see you, I see that guy back there, and I see that dude taking a poop, but you didn't
Yeah.
need to know that. Yeah.
So a smaller spaceship comes down on land, and Faora comes out, and she approaches Superman, and she goes, Zod also wants her, pointing to Lois, and
This is where you see a lot of that robot come out. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure why Zod wanted Lois. I don't know.
No, that part I really couldn't piece together either.
Yeah, I don't know if it was another power play. Like, we know that there's something.
I mean,
but you
he's
think that they
got
would
the
take
ego for that.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
That led me to that thought. But then I thought, well, maybe wouldn't he take Martha? You know.
I mean, that would make more sense because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is the woman who raised him. Definitely get her.
But
you know?
I suppose, Martha wasn't there, and maybe they're like, well, we don't have time for them to drive 45 minutes out, get Martha, drive 45 minutes back, put her on the spaceship.
But Zod,
yeah.
we've literally waited thousands and thousands of light years to do this. Come on, let's just get it done, buddy.
No, damn it.
No, I'm not waiting another minute. I want this now.
Yeah.
I'm Zod.
Right. But yeah, they never really explained, at least not that I could find.
Right.
Maybe I overlooked something, but I couldn't find any reason as to why they wanted Lois. I mean, they questioned her, I guess, a little bit, but yeah,
Sure.
I don't know. Yeah, that part was kind of wonky. Mm-hmm. As the two are on the spaceship, Superman slips Lois the Codex, which is a pretty smart move. Superman knows not to trust these people. He also knows that they're probably going to look for that Codex.
Hey, these guys just held the world hostage. I don't think I'm going to give them what they want.
Yeah, I don't think that this is a good idea.
Yeah.
Superman is not used to the Kryptonian atmosphere at all. Yeah. So of course the ship is modified to have the Kryptonian atmosphere so that the Kryptonians can breathe it. Superman can breathe it just fine. Well, not just fine. He can breathe it and survive, but it's really screwing with him.
Right, like he went from being god level dude to all of a sudden, oh shit, I'm Kryptonian again.
Yeah. Like I'm pretty much mortal and human right now. And he starts coughing up blood, and he seemingly passes out. And the Kryptonians have this kind of technology where they probe your brain, like find your memories, and then place the setting so that they have the upper hand. Once again, it's like another power play, because Zod could have had this conversation, in the Kryptonian ship, but I think Zod really wanted Clark to know that, hey, look, what you're seeing right now, of course, is just a visual construct, but if you don't if you don't comply, then this could be what you see.
He wanted him to be submissive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, wanted him to follow that Kryptonian way.
Yep.
And so Zod, he paints the picture of like himself being a sympathetic character, which is a really good place, especially for a villain. I really like that because Zod, once again, he's not entirely lying here. He tells the truth about the tragic destruction of their people.
Yeah.
I think that if Zod wasn't such a hard military man, he would have probably played the relative card, like, oh, I can't believe I found another one. You look just like him. He could have gone that route.
Like I'm your father's old friend type,
yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. In that case, this would have been an entirely different movie for
Superman,
a large part.
Superman joins Zod.
Exactly. And then they play off the old story. At the end, he's just now realizing, oh, this guy might not be good news.
Yeah. But fortunately, I never see Superman doing that, even with or without that kind of ploy.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, Zod basically tells him, look, we want the same thing. You want to see your people. I want our people to come back and to thrive like I know we can. Small note, in order to do so, everyone you know and love has got to die.
Right. They're going to be fuel for the new world.
Right, yeah. Well, it was essentially like, look, so we have this world engine, okay? We're going to terraform the earth so that our people can thrive and grow and live. And then with your codex, we can begin repopulation. Simple as that, right? And Superman's like, what happens to my people? Zod replies, oh, well, a foundation has to be laid, man. You know how it is.
Mm-hmm. That's the line.
Yep. Yeah. And so after that, we see Lois imprisoned. And fortunately enough, they have this freaking, that USB codex thing, a slot for it. And Lois inserts it. And Jor-El's like, oh, hey, you're not my son.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here? Oh, okay.
Well, let's get you out.
Let's get you and my son out of here, okay?
It's also convenient at this point, and this might be me reaching. Admittedly, it kind of is off the bat, but it's convenient that her putting the codex in doesn't immediately set off like some prison security alarm saying, "Hey, someone just entered a Kryptonian USB into the system," and it's the codex, you know.
My guess is one or two reasons. One, because as we found out in a little bit, that's not actually the codex. The codex was uploaded into Clark. And secondly, my other guess would be also that this Jor-El consciousness has all control of the ship. Like,
that's true. It did definitely give him like eyes and ears.
Yeah.
And infinite projections to every corner. Right.
I look at it as like also kind of like inserting a virus, essentially, like, because Jor-El's like, oh, let me cut this off, let me open this door, let me do this for you.
Right. Which Russell Crowe did pretty cool.
It was really well done.
Yeah.
Because like he was Jor-El, but he was also equally computer, and it showed.
Like, hand motion. Door closed on folks.
But it was also like his performance, like the way that he would speak and his jargon.
Exactly.
And his motions, yeah.
Move slightly to the left.
Right.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yep. Jor-El, he helps her escape, and he also changes the atmosphere to match that of Earth so that our boy Superman can escape. And it was smart. And Superman does so. Superman, he's able to escape. He's able to catch Lois's escape pod and save her life. Zod and the gang, they question Martha.
Now they had time to go over 40 minutes.
They were like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go find Martha. Damn it.
I would have loved for that to have been like background scenage, just like, I told you we should have just got her in the first place. You shut your mouth.
Yeah, Fayora, if you say one more goddamn word, I swear I'm going to make Superman my second in command, all right?
I'm going to put you back where we came from, all right? You're going to be back in Ice Dick prison.
Yeah, you want to go back in the Phantom Zone? I didn't think so. Shut up.
Exactly.
Yeah. That would have been funny. As they made that quiet ride over there.
Exactly. That awkward.
Yeah. The other henchman asked, so does anyone want any of this Earth coffee? I heard that Okay, no one. Okay,
I'm making a coffee run. No, okay,
all right. They got this place called Starbucks. No, okay.
No, that's nothing. It's not in the stars. It's here. I love us rewriting scenes. I really do.
Oh shit. But yeah, they go and they question Martha, looking for the ship in the Codex. They do find the ship. They don't find the Codex because obviously it is not there. But I think that they have cool looking armor. It looks like a sleeker, even more futuristic Fallout armor.
Yeah,
I thought it was a pretty cool look.
Yeah, the helmets kind of were cool too.
Yeah. And next I have fight with 3 question marks. I am referring to the Zod and Superman fight. It's really shortly done right here, and that's purposely done so. Because Superman is flying towards his home, knowing that Zod and the gang are there with his mother, and so he tackles Zod like fucking 3 cities over.
Basically, like pow drives that sucker through the cornfield, through the fences, through the skyscraper. It was great.
That was pretty
through
awesome.
An exploding 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go ahead and mention it shortly here,
Right.
but we need to mention it in greater detail later. And I already know you're thinking it. There are people who had problems with how much Superman destroyed in these fights. And I was totally cool with it because, let's face it, 2 gods fighting in a mortal world are always going to lead to destruction out the wazoo.
Yes.
And
you know what else? I'm going to mention this later on too, because I felt the same way. Like, what do you guys expect? Like, what do you expect?
Like Superman super tackling this guy. Oh, let's go around the skyscraper, over the 7-Eleven. Oh, the cornfields. I don't want to bend over the corn.
I think a lot of people have a hard time accepting the concept that Superman can't save everybody. Like, they don't want to accept that because in their mind, she's always that perfect guy that can do literally everything in an instant. And here we get this more humanized Clark that has human problems and that's struggling, to save everyone.
Struggling to really adapt to the fullness of his powers.
Yeah, they're saying he should have took the fight somewhere else. How?
He took it somewhere else and then somewhere else on top of that. And he kept flying through those places.
And on top of that, when people talk about all the destruction that they caused, that's actually bullshit. I just watched the movie less than 24 hours ago. The World Engine caused vast majority of the destruction.
Yep.
Not them. Not the Kryptonians. Not Superman. That fucking World Engine wrecked like it was supposed to do.
They were at least second place in destruction count.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. As a duo.
Oh yeah. But no, like looking at just like the structural destruction, like of the buildings and all of that, that shit was done mostly by the World Engine.
Yeah. But the good chunk of it that was done by them, it was justly done. Folks.
It was, yeah.
I mean, come on, super gods need to have their space for play.
Yeah. So I'm not really sure why people had such a hard time with that, but that was something that people didn't like. I still don't get it. I don't know. I wish
expectations.
Right. Like I wish I knew what they wanted so I could address it more properly. But I didn't see a problem with it.
I think they wanted Superman off the bat to just be perfect and have this perfect idea of what needed to happen in every situation, no matter what.
Yeah.
Basically, the contingency ability of Batman into Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Hell, even under Batman's watch, Gotham's been wrecked.
Yeah.
Plenty of times.
And there's been times I'm sure when Batman's just sitting there thinking to himself,
Oh shit. So Zod, he realizes that he has to adjust to the atmosphere, and Zod kind of makes a hasty retreat. And then we get the Feyora fight in the IHOP.
Or don't you mean IHOB?
Yep.
I hope that's temporary. It's because they started burgers, man.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I mean, they had the monopoly on pancakes.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna win when it comes to burgers. There's
Hell no.
dozens of burger places.
Better burgers, I'm sure too.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know. I kind of want to go try the IHOP burger now, just out of curiosity.
I go there because I want their breakfast food. Damn it.
Are they gonna flip the P?
Yeah.
I mean,
that would be it.
That's the final business move here.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. We've had many breakfasts at IHOP thanks to Comic-Con and whatnot, and They're always good. Breakfast hits the spot.
Right.
Don't change your game.
I've never said, you know what, I want a burger. Let's go to IHOP. I mean, and I'm still not gonna say that. If I want a burger, because everybody has their burger places picked out. If you want a burger, then you have a place in mind.
You go to that place.
Exactly.
You know which place has a damn good burger.
Yeah. I mean, if I want a pancake, I would go to IHOP, but
Yeah.
Anyway, so
that's your present day rant.
Exactly. With that being said, I am not upset that IHOP got demolished.
Although I do feel sorry for Superman's friend.
Yeah, his friend probably lost his job. Poor Pete. Yep, that was Pete. Yeah, Pete grew up to be a manager at IHOP. Next, I mean, hell, I can't talk. I'm not even a manager. So, next up, we get the 2-on-1 fight. There's Faora and the other, even lesser known Kryptonian fighting Superman.
Yep.
I literally don't know his name. I think it starts with the N. It's like three letters. I think that's it. Like Nom or something.
Superman fought Nom.
Nom.
Oh gosh.
I just made that up, folks. I don't know this guy's name.
Right. Yeah.
So, Faora, she's kind of whooping Superman's ass, and it makes sense. Like, there are people that have problems with this. Like, Superman should be stronger than her. Superman doesn't know how to fight.
Right.
Not really, guys.
He's been holding back his whole life.
He's been holding back his whole life,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have the military training. And she even says it, well, actually, Zod says it later on about how, he grew up, he was bred to fight because of the unnatural births.
Yep.
He was literally bred for war, bred to fight. And how did you train? On a farm? I mean, so yeah, Superman.
I punched hay bales. What?
I guess Zod could be like, well, you do have that farm boy strength. That makes sense. But,
but then again, on a Kryptonian level, what is that even?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so Superman fights Faora, and he's fighting this other Kryptonian too.
Yep.
Eventually, Faora, she gets KO'd by a missile to the face.
In your face.
In your face. Yeah, she straight up eats that missile to the face. Like she eats that thing, and she did not like the taste.
It was a sour warhead.
Yep. The military, they stand down for Superman as Superman is getting up and gonna go after Zod and the gang. The military, I love how there wasn't any dialogue here. They just simply told us visually that, hey, you're really not our enemy. Like, I think that's literally the only thing that they say is that he's not the enemy. And which is a smart move.
Very smart, yeah.
Let's see, moving on here. He actually goes back home, and this right here made me laugh and scratch my head at the same time. I'm like, I understand you love your mother, and you should, and you're worried about her, and you should be. However, there is a Kryptonian mini war wrecking your city, or wrecking Metropolis at least. Maybe, hey.
Maybe this isn't the best time to go visit.
Right, yeah. This probably isn't the best time.
Go on Sunday.
Yeah. Like, the last time you saw her, I'm pretty sure that you noticed she was alive, But, maybe not go see Mom right now.
I mean, benefit of the doubt, sure, but there could have been a better time for this.
Maybe if the scene had even been placed somewhere else, but it's at this point where Zod is back on the ship, and his Kryptonian scientist reveals that the Codex is actually in Superman's cells. Zod smartly asks, so do we need him alive to harvest this? No? Okay, good. We're gonna harvest it from his corpse. The world engine is deployed, and they're preparing the world for terraforming so that it can match the Kryptonian atmosphere. And then this is where I have destruction in Metropolis, and in parentheses I wonder where Bruce Wayne is, because we know from Batman vs Superman that he's somewhere around here.
Right.
Yeah. Saving little girls and other people, whatnot.
Yep. Running through dust clouds.
Yep. Next thing we get here, this was kind of weird. Did you notice like the machine dragon matrix thing that was trying to fight Superman as he was?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what that was. Like, I think it would have been cooler had they released like some of the dinosaurs from Krypton.
Yeah, that would have been sick.
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
yeah.
Superman fighting like that humpback thing from
Right,
earlier,
yeah.
just trying to graze. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been cool.
Yeah, that'd have been like
Or
a
the-
cool callback, you know.
The
at least.
flying dragon bird
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool. But instead, I don't know what this is here. Honestly, it's just a. I don't know what it is.
Just a really weirdly built machine.
Yeah, that can like change its shape almost.
Right.
Yeah. The Air Force captain, I'm sorry, the colonel, the Air Force colonel.
There it is.
Yeah, he sacrifices himself and a few others to
I absolutely loved your telling of that. He sacrificed himself and a few others.
in order to kill Feyora. Okay. He makes the executive decision.
Yeah.
You know?
Come on, let's go do this. Wait, no.
I'm not okay with this decision.
I'm not okay with this. I'm just a private.
Oh man. But he repeats the line that she said to him, a good death is his own reward, as he flies that ship right into the terraformer and killing them all. Yeah, so Feyora died. Lois Lane was able to escape just in the nick of time, of course.
Of course.
Yep, she's got that plot armor.
There was a yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the name of this convenience.
Oh yeah. It wouldn't be a superhero movie if someone didn't miraculously survive via plot armor. Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's sad how true that is.
Yeah, it's in all of them.
It's in all of them suckers.
Yeah, oh jeez. Except for
Infinity War?
it's that's the other exception. Except
Okay.
for no, because all the main Avengers still.
Yeah. Is that plot armor at that point, or is that just ability to even tell the next story?
Yeah. Okay, I'll give that to Infinity
Yeah.
War. The
What-
other movie
what were you about to say?
The other movie that did it was The Dark Knight, because Rachel straight up bit it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Batman did not save her.
No. Douche.
Yeah. It was like after Christopher Nolan wrote The Dark Knight, they were like, "Hey, where's the plot armor?" It's like, "What is plot armor?"
Exactly.
Oh shit. Anyways, moving on. Lois and Superman, they finally have the first kiss, and then after that we get the final showdown with Zod.
Yeah.
And I just realized I skipped over a very important scene. I know I wrote it down, but I don't remember where I wrote it at.
Oh.
But so we're gonna go ahead and discuss this other important scene really quick because we have to discuss it.
Okay.
It's way the freak back over here. Damn. Okay. Don't know how I missed that, guys. Apologize. And you guys are probably worrying that we would skip it. So the scene I'm referring to is after. It's the scene where we get another flashback.
Okay.
To a very angsty teen Clark driving. He's riding in the car with his parents.
Sure.
And the family dog. And a tornado is incoming.
How did we miss this scene? This happened so long ago.
It did. Yep. And you know, I feel like the homies would try to crucify us if we didn't talk about this scene.
Right.
They be like, you guys are trying to mask this scene. No. I legitimately accidentally skipped over it.
Right.
But-
Though, admittedly, I'm sure you're hopefully gonna agree with me on this, but there was some weird bullshit in this scene.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and once again, is bullshit with Jonathan.
It's like they didn't know really what to do with his character. Okay, let's finish talking about it. Okay.
So a tornado is incoming, and so they evacuate the vehicles and they go under to an underpass, and there's a crowd of people there taking shelter from the tornado there. So the Clark or the Kent family, they all get out, but then they realize to lift the dog back into the car. Clark, he offers to go get the dog, but Jonathan goes, no, you gonna make sure everybody's safe over there. I'm gonna go get the dog. I guess that's your first mistake. I still would have let Clark. I would have said to Clark, okay, make it look like you're just a really fast runner for a normal person. That was too fast.
No.
Yeah. But no, so Jonathan he goes back for the dog in the car as the tornado is coming. he's able to get the dog out and save the dog, but as a result, he realizes that it's going to be too late for him. As Clark is about to go and save his father, save Jonathan, Jonathan holds out his hand and gives him the look that says, "No, don't save me." And then the tornado straight up kills him, rips him away.
This was so weird.
It was very weird.
Yeah.
It just builds upon the other weird scene earlier with Jonathan Kent when he says to Clark, maybe you should have let those kids die. It's building upon that because at this scene, Clark literally let his dad die.
Are we sure Jonathan was totally healthy? Like, were there
Maybe
some
not.
problems?
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe he wasn't okay.
I mean, that's not a laughing issue, but it is like a potential backstory, between the panel's explanation. Mm-hmm. But the more important point we're trying to make here, folks, is that this was some weird decision making.
Once again, because it's the same concept that they're trying to convey here that they were in the other Jonathan scene.
Right.
But once again, they painted a weird picture.
Yeah. And they gave it dramatic power because there was a death involved, and it was his own death. But
I think that they still could have involved a death somehow of Jonathan Kent and have it be impactful and have it shape Superman, just not like this.
Right. This was weird. This felt so off. It was like, Dad, I'm sorry, but no, the secret's not worth you dying.
Yeah.
Like, nothing in your right mind, Dad, talking to you, if I had superpowers, would ever hold me back from showing them to the world to save you from a tornado blowing cars away.
Right.
Like, no, I'll deal with the consequences. Mm-hmm. We're going to get you safety. But, I mean, that seems like logic to me.
Right.
But if someone has any strong relation as to why this scene still made sense, and I'm talking strong, airtight strong, damn it, more airtight than, those cars were, then please let me know about it. Because right now, that was stupid.
No, it was. It was straight up ridiculous.
Yeah.
Didn't make any sense at all.
But the dog got to live.
The dog got to live.
Yeah. I would have gone back for the dog too, but I also would have got my ass out of there. I would have willingly said, nope, I need some help. Come here, son. Come get me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. If I'm Jonathan Kent in this situation, I'm like, son, you need to come get my ass. Like, don't you let me die.
I know your ass can fly. Yeah. I've seen you do it.
Yeah, so that was just a really odd scene, man. Like, once again, I'm not sure what they were trying to. I know what they were trying to convey, but why they wanted to go that route. Maybe they wanted something that was going to be. I think they wanted something that was going to come up as ambiguous, like, who's right. But instead, it came off as, why the hell did they do that?
Yeah, just off-putting.
But. Yeah, it was a very strange scene. It was, in my opinion, like one of the few black marks on this movie because it's like essentially Jonathan Kent's arc entirely just
they flopped.
Yeah,
they really did.
Right, and it's such a shame because like I feel that Kevin Costner could have given us a really, really cool and introspective Jonathan Kent. Instead, what we get is me dying. What they're trying to convey is Jonathan Kent dying is worth keeping his son safe.
Yeah.
But there's other ways that you can do this.
Exactly. You could have told us the same message in a better, less awkward way,
and still have a heartfelt death.
Yeah, or even better yet, maybe not even have to have a death. Like,
well, he has to die, but Jonathan Kent has to die.
Yeah, that's true. Never mind. Sorry, Kevin.
Yeah. Sorry, Kevin Costner, you had to die.
Yeah.
But no, guys. So we for sure did not mean to skip over that scene.
Thanks for backtracking.
Yeah, and for sure, guys, that is a dumbass scene. I don't know.
Definitely take some score away from this movie.
Don't know how the hell that got in there, or what it was doing in there.
Are you talking about in the movie or in that point in your book?
Movie, yeah.
Oh.
And both. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. So moving back to current day events, it's funny because I stopped right at the final showdown between Superman and Zod.
More intensity building up. Backstab.
Yep.
That go.
Yeah. So back to where we are in the movie here, we get the final showdown between Superman and Zod, and I really enjoyed this fight here, like this all-out, just fuck each other up brawl, because we don't really get to see Superman do that, at least not in movies. Because before this, we got Superman Returns with Brandon Routh. That movie was terrible. Mm-hmm. And then way before that, we got Superman 4: Quest for Peace. That. We don't need to say anything more about that. Nope. We got Superman 3 with Richard Pryor, which was almost just as bad. Then the last one we got before that was Superman 2 with General Zod. But those movies back then, of course, visually just don't hold up to what we have now. Yeah. And so this is really the first time that we get to see Superman in modern day just go balls out, with the visuals and with what he can do physically.
Right. Plus, our technology backing that up, man, it looked great.
It did. I thought it looked really fun. It looked really good. We see a couple Easter eggs. We see the Lex Luthor truck get destroyed, and we also even see Superman and Zod destroy a Wayne Industries satellite in the sky. Yeah. So that was pretty fun too. But it's a pretty good fight. We get some good dialogue from Zod. This is just a pissed off Zod that's talking down to Clark at this point now. Mm-hmm. And we get the what I have here, the controversial killing of Zod. This was something else that a lot of people didn't like. I was gonna call the scene with Jonathan Kent dying. I was gonna call that the Martha scene of this movie. Except the difference is that the Martha scene actually makes sense. The Jonathan Kent dying doesn't make sense.
No.
But I think that the death of Zod is the Martha scene of this movie.
It's funny that's become a descriptor now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can already see where you're coming from with this.
Right.
Because...
yeah, so many people were saying, why did Superman kill Zod? And what it comes down to is, like we were saying at the beginning of this podcast, this disrupts people's perfect view of Superman.
Yep. And
so they don't like it.
I really don't know what to say at this point because, it's cool that you're such a fan of something, and it's cool that you're such, that you're so in love with this idea of Superman, and maybe it meant something, maybe it still means something presently to you, and that's great. Hold on to that. But it becomes a hindrance, really, whenever you let that fandom, that love, that deep appreciation for an idea or a philosophy that a character represents, or for what a personal meaning a character may give you.
Right.
For instance, Wolverine and my, appreciation of him, a Batman, your appreciation for him.
Right.
But it becomes poison almost.
It does.
If you let that appreciation, that fandom, that deep love distract you or pull you away from the idea that character can grow or change or make other decisions,
Right.
The character's more than what we make them to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm going to paint a pretty broad picture here, but
sure.
When a police officer pulls his service weapon on someone threatening to kill someone else, does that police officer shoot to disarm or shoot to stop?
Well, I guess the first question I have in mind is no attempt to poke a hole in that at all, please. But it's like, can the officer shoot to disarm?
What they actually tell you in the police academy is you shoot to stop. That's literally the motto. You shoot to stop.
Right.
They don't say shoot to kill because that's too barbaric.
Right.
But they say shoot to stop. You don't aim for a leg. You're not supposed to aim for an arm. You're supposed to aim for the meaty area. You are shooting to stop.
Exactly. Them. Well, honestly, if I got shot in the meaty area, my ass would be done too. I am so sorry. I did not mean to wild out. Just don't shoot me again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I say that because these people, like this innocent family, was about to die. Zod has that heat vision, which, by the way, I appreciate the fact that Doomsday's heat vision looked just like Zod's, seeing that Doomsday is a byproduct of Zod.
I forgot they did that. Oh gosh,
yeah,
wow, that was a throwback. Because when you started saying that, I was like, what? Oh yeah, they are the embodiment of sane.
Mm-hmm.
What? What?
Yeah.
Movies, man.
Yeah. But no, as Zod's about to, obliterate these people with his heat vision, Superman makes the executive decision to snap his neck.
Yeah.
I mean, once again, like, this scene is hard for me to defend, not because I think it's bad, but because I don't know why it needs defending.
At this point, I mean, I think it's a lot of people potentially calling out something in ignorance, calling out something without trying to understand all sides of the aspect, I'm not going to try to fill in their opinions by saying, oh, they're hard Superman fans. They could just be people wondering, wait a minute, why did he have to kill someone, In that case, I would invite you to really more deeply look into the other side of the story. What could have possibly potentially happened? What would have said of Superman's character if he let him beat those people? What would your Superman be then?
Right. What part... Zod even said it himself before this scene happened. Right before this scene happened, Zod said, one of us will have to die this way, this day. He said that. One of us is going to have to die. Interesting that they chose to put that in there. Yeah,
because there's meat there.
There is. I mean, because as we see, we're placed in a situation where, either Superman decides to kill Zod or... I mean, what's the alternative? Like, I mean, people say some dumb shit. I'm sorry, guys, but there's some dumb shit like Superman could have put his hand over his eyes. That won't fucking... Superman would lose his hand. Like, these are Kryptonian heat, like, Kryptonian rays coming from Zod's eyes. Like, even if he could withstand it, it would be like, shit, that fucking hurts. And then the people still die.
Okay, well, let's color in the rest of that. Let's be more dumb.
Okay.
Color in the rest. Let's say that his hand can stop the heat vision, and that it's only Kryptonian skin that can deflect that. Okay, let's just give him the benefit of that doubt.
Yeah.
What would that really have done? Because you cover the heat vision and you stop it, but you've been beating the shit out of each other. He's not going to let you hold your hand over his face.
Exactly.
He's going to punch the shit out of you and kick you in the balls.
Right. In that case, the fight continues. There's more potential destruction and there's more potential death.
Exactly. More so than what already happened in this destruction. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
Let's call shit for what it is. Yeah. But... whatever,
Right.
And let people dream. That's cool. If they're happy in the dream, okay.
Yeah.
But please think more deeply about it, people.
Right.
Don't be afraid to think outside of yourself, of your expectations, of your ideas, really.
Yeah. You got to get past this concept that Superman doesn't kill. You have to put yourself in, you have to put these heroes in the reality that these movies place them in.
Right.
And then ask yourself, what would this hero really do in this situation? And I understand that your opinion may still come out to be Superman would still never kill. Well, Superman would inherently be a cause of more people dying.
Exactly. And it's funny because we talk about Batman a lot, but the same can be said of him.
Yeah.
The same can be said of any hero or villain.
Yeah, I mean, in the podcast, I don't remember which one, but, I spoke about how Batman did a lot of manslaughter in BVS. But, I mean, me being me, and I consider myself to be one of the more hardcore Batman fans out there.
Oh, I concur.
Yeah. But even with that, I was able to see the state that Batman was in. Like, this is a gritty Frank Miller-ass Batman. This is a Batman that has...
I don't give a crap Batman.
Yeah, this is a Batman that has lost a Robin and that feel like he's lost all control since this Kryptonian invasion. This is a Batman that doesn't care about your livelihood, so he's not going out of his way to save you or to make sure that you're alive. This is a Batman that's unhinged. That's not an uncommon Batman from what we've seen in comics.
Yeah.
I understand where Batman is coming from. In the scene, I understand where Superman is coming from. So, I mean, once again, I'm not trying to change anyone's opinion, but I am trying to present other options that maybe some of you guys haven't looked at yet.
Sure, and you know what? I will be. I'll live what we're preaching, If you do have something else, something meatier, something that we can actually grab hold to that does exercise this other opinion of why Superman shouldn't have done that.
Right.
Again, message us, communicate with us, email us, Facebook message us, whatever. We left means to do so here for you.
Oh, yeah.
You know, challenge us.
Absolutely.
Please, let's talk about it.
Yeah, let us know.
You know.
Let's go ahead and wrap this one up here.
Yeah, for sure. It's that time.
So the government / military were trying to surveillance Superman until he destroys their satellite. You know, he comes down and tells them, you know, look, I'm not here to cause you guys any harm or problems. Tell your boss to leave me alone, basically. And then we get the final shot of Clark, in a way, taking the advice of the little bit of good advice that we got from Jonathan Kent, and being in the role, but also being himself. As he takes a job at the Daily Planet. I have it written down here, Daily Planet.
There's some irony there.
Yep. And that's where the movie ends. We get our first look at that secretive Superman. Yep. That's what I call him. Secretive Superman. Clark Kent. Yep. And
Secretive Superman.
Yep. And that's where the movie ends us. That's where Man of Steel ends us.
So what's your rating? Now that we've spoken about the whole movie.
Yeah, so I thought that this movie did a tremendous job humanizing the character of Superman.
Oh, yeah.
Making him relatable and layered. Like, he's actually a complex character now versus a one-note character that we've gotten in past.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the performances from Russell Crowe also and Michael Shannon.
There were some good people in this movie.
Oh, they really were, yeah. Like, all of the main actors in this movie, I thought, did a tremendous job, and even a lot of the side characters like Perry White, Lawrence Fishburne, I thought was really good. Amy Adams was really good also. I'm sorry that you guys may be upset at her hair color. I get it though.
I don't.
Yeah. I loved all the situations that they placed Superman in about a man trying to find himself, because who isn't? Once again, it goes back to them humanizing the character. I love the visuals overall. I thought everything on Krypton was really good.
Yeah.
With all that being said, there's a few moments where the movie gets a little too pretentious, specifically with the Jonathan Kent stuff. And the movie, once again, it crawls up its own ass, you know, trying to do something so complex that it becomes a parody of itself almost. But yeah, my biggest problems are definitely the Jonathan Kent scenes. I didn't have a problem with the destruction. It made sense to me. Didn't have a problem with Zod's death. It made sense to me. With all that being said, guys, I give the movie an overall 8 out of 10. I thought the movie was really good.
Okay.
Yep.
I was honestly shooting for like a 7.7, you know, something like that, 7.6. Again, this movie was easy to look at, man. There was a lot of aesthetically pleasing stuff here. You know, Krypton, you know, the ocean and the boat scene, you know. Like the farm, even the destruction, everything looked good. The actors, same comments, man. Everyone did a fantastic job with what they were given.
Yeah.
Even Kevin Costner was good with what he was given. He was given shit.
Yep.
Let's face it. Let's be blunt. That wasn't great. No. Everyone else, super great job, you know.
Also, I want to give a shout out to the soundtrack. I really enjoyed the score that they played in the background.
I'm glad they made it different.
Yeah.
It had to be different for Superman versus Batman. You know?
Yeah, I don't know if it was Hans Zimmer that did this or not. It could have been. If so, that explains why the soundtrack was so good. But I really enjoyed the score. How, like, during the softer moments of the movie, we got like a more heartfelt type score in the background. So I thought that was really well played. A really nice touch. But yeah, guys, that is our review of Man of Steel. Because this is such a divisive movie, we know that we're going to have some divisive thoughts. But for sure, guys, let us know what you know, where you're thinking, you know, what, if you like the movie or not, if you thought that we did a just job at reviewing this movie or not. Because believe it or not, we tried to be as open-minded and you know, as honest with these reviews as we possibly can.
Right.
If we see a spade, we call a spade, you know, for sure.
And I know we kind of sound, you know, very direct a lot of the time, and we are not afraid to do that ever.
Right.
But, you know, don't be afraid to, you know, let us know, especially if we made a mistake on something.
Yeah, you got to understand, guys. Like, we always argue like we're right, but we'll listen like we're wrong. So
why else argue?
For argument's sake, Kevin. For argument's sake. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for now. Also, be sure if you guys want to hear more of our awesome reviews, such as Jurassic World, which is going to be a new movie review, then you can check us out tomorrow. We'll be releasing that review, but it will be on our Patreon page. And for just $1 a month, you guys can get all of our new movie reviews. For $3 a month, you guys can get all of our new material that's non-superhero related.
Hells yeah. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Go ahead and please leave us a review on iTunes or Facebook, whichever one you want to do. Anything you could do will help us out, really, even if it's just tell a friend about us.
Absolutely. If you guys have any questions, comments, gifts, space food supplies, or kryptonite, then you can hit us up at superherohomies@gmail.com. I would take kryptonite, sure.
It is valuable, so yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Just not too much of it, because then we'd be poisoned.
Yep. It is late, guys. We got to hit the hay, but we hope you guys like this one. We will see you guys Sunday with another fun-filled episode. Till then, I'm Quentin.
I'm Kevin.